Hi everybody, old guy here. And this book, there it is, which was published in 1974, is The Day of the Triffids, Pendulum, The Midwich Cuckoos, and just about every other John Wyndham book ever written in one. But that's not a criticism. It's quite entertaining. If you like your alien invasions coupled with natural disasters, that is, and who doesn't? So what's this thing about? Well, Calvin Johnson is an English comprehensive school English teacher, which means in English that he teaches English at an English middle school in the far distant future of the 1990s, when a supernova in the non-existent constellation of Briareus, and I guess that's how you pronounce that, bathes the Earth in radiation and very pretty auroras. Calvin is out one night with a bunch of his students admiring the show when a gigantic tornado drifts in from the sea and destroys the place, almost killing Calvin and leaving him washed up on shore with one of his students, Margaret Hardy, whom he promptly sexually assaults with her acquiescence. I suppose people react to disasters differently. Now, right after, Margaret goes into a deep sleep that lasts for days, as do thousands of other 16-year-old girls across the nation. And they have strange dreams which seem to presage the future. Turns out that while the radiation from the nova has created ecological havoc, it has also changed our brain waves and rendered the human race sterile. Uh-oh. The brain changes are prevalent in the 16-year-old sleepers, now called Zetas, because a new wave has shown up in their EEGs. When they get together, they can meld their visions into something they all see, but which no one can explain. They also, whenever they're in Calvin's proximity, want to have sex with him. Calvin turns out to be a Zeta too, but actually much more than that, a diplodeviant, which means his Zeta and Alpha waves are in sync. Guess that's sexy to a Zeta. The government, always looking for ways to mess things up, discovers that the Zeta girls can get pregnant, but only if they have electrodes implanted that alters their brain waves, driving them insane, but fertile. So, of course, they start taking the Zetas into their laboratories, and, well, there you go. A lot of Zetas volunteer for it to save the human race, but the ones with sense run away, including Calvin, who is closely associated with the Zetas and subject to experimentation. The resultant Zeta pregnancies barely come to term or live for more than a few weeks, and the last generation of humans conceived right before the supernova are all born, oddly, as Zetas. Not so oddly. It appears the supernova was used by a mysterious alien race made up of particles or something like that to reach the Earth and attempt to take over of our brains. At least that's the theory presented by maverick scientist Angus McCarty, and of course everyone thinks he's nuts, except for Calvin, who is increasingly in some kind of mental contact with these superior beings. At least he thinks he is. They give him a choice. Let the human race die out, or let them take over and provide peace and harmony, sort of like a species-wide lobotomy. Calvin flees across a glacierized England with Margaret to find a farm they both see in visions, and which is owned by a teenager named Elizabeth, who turns out to be a diplo-deviant too. The only female one, and yep, you know what happens next. For reasons probably known only to the aliens, Calvin becomes the center of his species-wide decision and has to make a sacrifice for the entire human race, which I think has already been done. This book is murky. I mean, it's a little difficult trying to figure out exactly what in the blue blazes is going on. Mainly because it feels like Cowper is assuming things you're just not privy to. I never got a sense that the aliens actually exist, but nothing else explains the goings-on with the Zetas. And I definitely don't see Calvin as the savior. So, if you pick this up, you pays your money and you takes your chances. Cowper is the pseudonym for John Middleton Murray Jr., son of the writer John Middleton Murray, who wrote well over 60 novels, hung out with T.S. Eliot, and had an affair with D.H. Lawrence's wife. So this is your dad. Junior wrote a few novels under his own name, but his dad was so harshly critical of him that he decided to go the science fiction fantasy route under pen names, where he was somewhat successful. Take that, Dad. Okay, that's all for now. Old guy here. See you later.